Hey guys, so I was getting questions about what to do for the project. Do I have samples, etc.? Unfortunately, my samples are at school and I can't get into the school to get them for you. But I found a comic online that can be used as an example. So, I told you you need 7 steps. If you looked or watched, like you should have, the water cycle gizmo video, you would have noticed how many steps there were in the overall water cycle. You have lakes and rivers and oceans and animals and mountains and clouds, etc., so on and so forth, aquifers, groundwater, etc. As long as you hit 7 steps and they're logical and you start and end at the same place, it's fine. Now, for starters, I have 2 things that I want to go over for this project to give more feedback towards and give more direction. The first thing I want you to see is the comic. You can draw faces on these, you can make it cartoony, it doesn't really matter. But you'll see in this comic, the sun's telling the water droplet about the water cycle. This isn't real, it's cartoony. Uh, it's cartoony and cartoons talking about something science. That's kind of what you should be doing. Or that's a direction that you could go. So you'll notice you have the sun, the water droplet, and the sun's walking the water droplet through the water cycle. So here's the water droplet, I guess at a river or lake. Maybe it's the ocean, but it's probably more like a lake. So it starts in the lake. He then goes into the atmosphere. He then forms a cloud. He then comes back down to the ocean. And the sun says, wasn't that fun? That's essentially what you're doing. Notice you had the 1 step, which was your lake or ocean. You then went to the atmosphere. You then formed clouds, so that's 3 steps. You then came back down to the lake or ocean, that's 4 steps. He only had 4 steps. You're going to have 7. So, an example of this might be you were in the ocean or lake, you were evaporated into the atmosphere, you condensed and formed clouds, you rained onto a mountain. So, ocean or lake, atmosphere, cloud, mountain. That's 4 steps. The mountain then ran into the river. That's 5. The river then ran to the ocean. That's 6. The mountain would run off water into the river, and then the river would run off water into the ocean or lake. More so an ocean. That's 6. I know that's one too small, but I don't want to give you too much. That's one cycle. You might have to throw something else in there to get 7. And don't be afraid to go over 7. So another example of the cycle that might fit your project, don't copy this, would be you start in the ocean. You go to the atmosphere. You form a cloud. You then fall back down to a plant. The plant, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4. The plant's the 4th step. The plant then takes the water through the ground and uproots it into itself. And it sends it back to the atmosphere. So that's 5, right? Like transpiration, evaporation of water through a plant. It then goes to the atmosphere. That's 5. Then we get condensation. That's 6. We then get the rain coming down and going back to the ocean. That's 7. That's essentially what you have to do. You need 7 pathways to complete the cycle. Start and end in the same place and have pathways. So you're going to show or draw a picture like this did. I'm in the ocean, then I'm in the atmosphere, then I'm forming clouds. then I come back to the ocean, or I come to a plant. I go up the plant's roots and out into the atmosphere. I then go back into the atmosphere and form a cloud. I then come back down to the ocean. Those are going to be your pictures. So I'll be able to see the steps that you're doing. And then you could have the water droplet, the sun, or even a narrator explain what's causing this. For instance, this is called evaporation. You're turning into water vapor. This is called condensation. So you're telling me the processes that are happening causing these steps to occur. You can't get clouds without condensation. You can't get the water to the atmosphere without evaporation. Hopefully this gives you more of an idea of what to do in case you are stuck or struggling. Again, as long as you follow those requirements that were listed the first day of the project, you should do well. There's a bunch of different steps and a bunch of different pathways. As long as it's logical and you put some thought into the comic, you're going to do well. Don't stress too much about this. Okay, guys, have a good day.